The 29th of April, sitting next to me is the General Secretary of COSATU in South Africa, Comrade Bheki Vavi. I know obviously GS, they usually know you to be Bheki Vavi. I had to raise that one of Veli, to which is a name that is not prominently known. But irrespective of that, GS, we are speaking about the 1st of May Day on a Sunday, to which you'll be one of its keynote speakers on the Sunday in Karasfontein. Part of the demands or part of the campaigns that COSATU have shown in its pamphlets speak to all the achievement to which COSATU has been able to achieve over the years. What is your view on the role of COSATU in this current domestic politics and this current day?
Look, we have dedicated the May Day for workers. Mm. That's why in our engagement in terms of the invitations, we have the party, we have the ANC, which we think they should be speaking the politics. For us, we want to concentrate on the shop floor. It does not mean we are not concerned about political issues, but we want to dedicate the May Day to the workers' issue in the shop floor in the main. That's what COSATU would be talking about. SANC will be talking about the issues in the community. We are going to be looking to our achievement, because as we also commemorate May Day, we are celebrating our 30th anniversary. But there are issues that are not yet completed. Those are the issues that are appearing in the pamphlet.
You know, Nobala, you are speaking about the issues to which workers are faced with. Just a few weeks back, we went onto the ground, I believe the shop floor that you are speaking of. We then decided, let us go focus on the taxi industry. Luckily for you, Nobala, you are a person that was once dominant in the industry, and you understand the challenges and the class relations to which those comrades or those people are faced with. One of their issues was that to which they raised was the accumulation and the unfair labor practices within the taxi industry. Worse off is that they were speaking and crying out loud that they would prefer to have their own union that deals directly with the taxi industry. Do you share the same sentiments?
Indeed, there is a taxi union in the taxi industry. The South African Transport and Allied Workers Union is organizing there. But as you know, it's a very difficult sector to organize because the Labor Relations Act, in terms of enforcement, is not a problem of the union, it's a problem of the Department of Labor. People are being recruited, they're being dismissed without following any law. And as a result, workers are really, really exploited. They wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, they sleep late at night. There is a sectoral determination that we negotiated with the department, and the minister has promulgated it. But the enforcement is one of the problem that we have.
But currently, Nobala, as you are mentioning about the work conditions of these very strictly the taxi industry, you'd have a violation of their rights when you understand that the infrastructure to which government or the municipality ought to assist them so that they can be able to continue with their work as the taxi industry, you'd find that government units or government security services also always interfering. You know, there's this perception or perspective that the taxi industry, people that are leading in the taxi industry are very violent people, very chaotic. So immediately a taxi comes, already they've been subject to that criticism. What is COSATU doing to ensure that the public is aware that these in themselves are workers? These are people that are affected by daily working conditions just like an ordinary worker.
What we think the government should be doing, in essence, is to do more investment in the public transport infrastructure. Ordinarily, the taxi industry will not be regarded as a public transport. They were born out of the apartheid because black workers were neglected. They did not have an access to the trains, to the buses, and etc. They are not subsidized. So the working condition, even for the taxi operators, the owners, is a very difficult one. In that rudeness, you can see that they are extending to the workers. Government has to take, steps in terms of restructuring the public transport, subsidize the taxi industry like any other public transport. But more importantly, they must enforce the law. When we agreed in terms of the minimum wages, the working condition, and when those workers are not protected, Government has to step in and protect those workers. They've got a responsibility and duty to do so.
Last year, I'm reminded, Nopala, last year, November, before you went to Congress, one of the key resolutions or the key agitating statement that COSATU had initiated to the public is that you are going to elect leaders to clean house. Do you feel that COSATU is really in a route or is currently cleaning house? And by cleaning house, what do you mean that COSATU is cleaning house?
Look, there's many issues, as you may be aware, that many of the COSATU unions are involved in internal dispute. And key to those particular issues is the issue of investment. Unions are tearing them apart because they are fighting for the hold of the resources. One of the issues that we were talking about was that workers must take their decision, must be able to be in control of their union. We must be able to elect correct shop stewards. We must be able to employ good organizers. Everybody must be accountable, must be ruled by the question of getting a mandate. Whatever the official must do, must get a mandate from the union, but must always be able to feedback in terms of any negotiation. We're not yet there. We're not there yet. We're not in the stage where we can say everything is clear. But we're in a process of saying every union must be able to elect and get a new mandate from its shop stewards and moving upwards.
But do you feel that COSATU represents black orientated or black dominant unions? And if it's that case, do you feel that we have reinvented race in a post-apartheid South Africa?
COSATU is non-racial unions. Unfortunately, the way in which unions have been organized, more white unions or white workers belong to the Vavi Federation, which is FODUSA, and the rest, they are just recruiting black unions. Despite that, our policies are non-racial. We are struggling. The only white union we have in COSATU is the finance union, which is our problem. We don't have the rainbow nation, not only in the workplace, but everywhere. That's why when we talk about the rainbow nation, we're struggling. We have been celebrating now the question of the Freedom Day. In that National Freedom Day, there was, I think, one or two women were dancing in the national team that were singing, which was significant, though. But I think they were moving very, very slowly in terms of the Rainbow Nation.
You speak about a dominant white union to which it is dominated by white people, especially it speaks to finances. COSATU, on its third CEC, it resolved that it wants the state to acquire 50% of the mines. There's a current public row on state capture, also realizing that people in which the economy is still in the hands of other white people. What radical steps is COSATU to ensure that its productive forces take over these means of productions? Because eventually, if we are going to speak about achieving and being progressive as working class, obviously COSATU's responsibility is to conscientize its workers. What is COSATU ensuring that really does happen?
Look, we have negotiated many laws that should be enabling laws in terms of ensuring that workers, irrespective of their colors, but in terms of acquiring the skills, are given the appropriate work. It does not mean that black workers does not have skills, for an example. In the employment equity, you can see how the level is made. There are few blacks people, on the top, they're mainly doing general workers, even when they have the expertise and the qualification to do so. But they are just overlooked in terms of this. That's why then in terms of the legislation, so we have said last time, the minister, the Department of Labor, must have all the power to enforce. Change is not going to be easy.
But Nopala, Stats SA just issued a statement saying that young people are much more unskilled than their parents. Are you speaking about a young crew entering into the market force? Are you just speaking about already those who are already existing in the market force?
No, the question of the young people does not mean they are not qualified. They are unable, the environment make it impossible for them to enter. So you can graduate today, you apply for the jobs. What they will ask you first and foremost, what is your experience? We think the industry is not, it has not been transformed. They should be giving those people an opportunity to get the experience, to be able to absorb in the industry. That's what we need as COSATU to forcefully fight for them so that we can open for the young graduates to be to get a space and be employed in the industry.
COSATU equally welcomed the position of Pravin Gordhan, our finance minister, for not increasing VAT. Yet we are speaking about the implementation of NHI as a funding health system. The NHI funding model would also allow or bring about the increase of taxes. Has COSATU really, or does COSATU really appreciate the minister's intervention, but equally looked away from the NHI implementation?
Look, we should put that in context. We appreciated that the minister did not increase VAT because VAT was going to affect mostly the working class people, those are lowly paid, because VAT does not care how much are you earning. That does not mean we are not for progressive taxation. We said there must be a tax on wealth, which the minister is not taking about. There must be tax on luxury goods, which the working class does not enjoy. So we were appreciating that it does not increase VAT, but does not mean we are happy with our approach towards the question of taxation.
But
we need more tax. Yes. We must tax the rich. We must tax more the company so that we can be able to get issues like NHI.
But equally, Nobali, you are speaking about COSATU as part of its campaign, speaking about back to basics. That means scrapping labor broking and also speaking about scrapping e-tolls. Why e-tolls? Why not the e-toll system holistically if COSATU is being genuine over the toll gates system?
Look, there's a difference from the e-tolls and the toll gate as a whole. Eventually, somebody must pay for the roads. We have no issue about that one. We must pay it because we need to maintain it. Money must come from the fiscals. So we also agreed that in COSATU we make a proposal when we're dealing with the e-tolls, that the system of e-tolls is more expensive because most of the money that is collected in the e-tolls does not go to the infrastructure, go to those Australian companies and the people who introduce the system. So we said at that time, let's look to the petrol taxation of some sort so that we can be able to maintain the road in any way. We pay levy in the petrol for the roads, but it's not enough. Rather than introducing a new system where the money does not go to the roads but goes to the rich, that's where we have a difference. That's why we're talking about a public transport where people can be able to afford, which is safe, which is accessible. Not the question of the e-tolls. We see the e-tolls, by the way, as privatization of our roads, that if you don't have money, you can't travel in a certain freeway because you don't have that money.
So when you speak about public transport, we are speaking about taxis.
We're talking about trains, we're talking about buses, we're talking about taxis in the main. But it's a public transport that people will be accessible, that is safe. And we know, for example, now our taxis are not that much safe. But we need to talk about those issues.
COSATU welcomed the opening discussions over the Tax Act when you went to your Congress. And immediately after that, SAMU went onto the road to say, no, in fact, they just want the whole tax to be scrapped, the Tax Act to be scrapped. What exactly is the problem with the Tax Administration Act? Because there seems to be a small division within COSATU, others saying that they can be able to sustain their livelihood if they had their pension on an income basis. Others will say, no, but with my money, I want to build a house that I was not able to build because of the conditions created for me able to not to sustain my family. What is COSATU going to ensure that this process to which you allegedly say did not happen, the consultation in NEDLAC, takes position, becomes a radical step to ensure that the president signs a law to which will be consistent with the needs of the people?
Look, I think we have moved a little bit from that step. Our objections to the amendment then was that the Treasury did not consult, undermine NEDLAC, did not decide with the workers.
So the problem is consultation?
Mainly, and the views behind it. Remember, workers save their money on their own. It's not by government. They enter to the workplace, they negotiated to save. So workers have the desire to save money. But in that desire, there are conditions that sometimes comes up, which says you can't take your money in terms of the government proposal, despite of the challenges you have. If you have saved maybe $500,000, then you are dismissed at the age of 55. Government said, no, you can't access that money. You must wait until 65. You must wait for 10 years. You must starve when you have money sitting in your account.
And the Provident Fund?
Which is the Provident Fund. I'm talking about the Provident Fund, which it says you can't withdraw until you get 65. When you get 65, you can then convert it to pension. The current arrangement with the Provident Fund, which workers negotiated, is that if I lose my job, I can take my money, because it's my money. I can withdraw the lump sum. I can sustain my life moving forward.
But have you conscientized your workers in terms of investment arms?
Exactly. Workers are investing. Workers are saving like any communities. They are investing in the, what you call it, the funeral pen. The workers invest. But the point we're making, which has been accepted by government by the way, is that you can't save what you don't have. That's why we have then asked government to introduce a comprehensive social security so that holistically we can then debate and say how workers should be helped so that they can be able, that the money that they have saved for retirement remains money for retirement. How the workers are helped in dealing with the health issues, how workers are helped to deal with subsidies of houses. Remember, many of these workers are not beneficiary of the RDP because they might be earning a little bit more. They might not be able to get their kids through the NSFAS because they are earning more. But there's a gap in between. So that's what the comprehensive social security must discuss.
May Day is going to be celebrating 30 years of workers' struggle. I have an interest in knowing, Nobala, what is your view on ethics and professionalism in a workplace? Are your workers, the people that you are representing, noted? Do they understand ethics? Are they taught ethics in a workplace?
Look, it depends. I mean, if you're talking about the public sector, it's something different because they are serving people.
Yes.
I think you might be referring there that the public sector, the police, in terms of, it should be part of their training in any way. If you're a nurse, it's part of your training how you should be looking after your patient. If you're a teacher and etc. But it's different when you are working like in a mining industry.
So you are saying, Nobala, that even those who are leaders of trade unions, they equally are taught. Currently, people who are leading instructors, they equally understand the code of ethics in their workplace. They should,
because before they become the leaders, they're not all born leaders. They work, if you're a leader of a teacher, mostly who are principal, they have gone through the college, they've gone back to school and teach. Then at some point in time, they will be graduating to be the leaders. So they know the basics. The issue, I think, that you might be asking is that are still people committed to what they learn and the oath that they've taken when they were taking this particular
because
job?
COSATU has a stigma, Nobala. We have learned of recent that Comrade Vavi will be, or Zwelinzima Vavi will be launching a rival federation. We just come from a people's march, and he tweeted that the SACP and COSATU, they've lost their revolutionary credentials to a sack of gold. Now we probably just asking to say, when Vavi was still the former GS of COSATU, did he understand the code of ethics, the behavior of a leader, how to interact with your staff, what is expected? Did Comrade Vavi go through that grilling process?
We think he did. Whatever happens to him, I think he's the best person to answer. What happened to that revolutionary thing, which he says COSATU has moved away from it. We don't believe so. The reason that he left COSATU because he was unable to commit to himself to that revolutionary thing. Does
his launch or the rival federation that he seemed to be, does it intimidate COSATU in any way?
Not at all. I mean, there are about 23 federations in South Africa. COSATU is one of them, is the biggest, is the strongest, by all means, got the highest numbers, and then fortunately numbers counts in terms of those issues. He may want to launch his federation. It's up to those who believe in him that he will be a leader. It's unheard of that you can have a federation launched by somebody who does not belong to a trade union, who does not lead anybody. Who is he leading that he can say, I'm setting up a federation?
Do you feel Comrade Vavi is a careerist, he's an opportunist? And is it wrong to be an opportunist because you see an opportunity and take it? Is it wrong for him to decide that today I'm waking up, I want to formulate my own trade or federation?
It is wrong to divide unions. It is wrong to say you are building by destroying other organizations, and you preach to the people that you are for a strong militant trade unions. Whatever he stands for now in terms of what they are doing, he found joy to speak publicly that he's talking about other union, poaching other people and all those issues. But the lesson in this that whenever you try other organization to build yours, eventually some people within are going to do the same to your own organization. In other words, we are not building any future because we are teaching other people how to try to destroy other organizations.
So you're saying what goes around comes around.
COSATU will be defended by its members. If the unions and the affiliates are strong and they understand their revolutionary standing and principles, we should not fear him. I mean, there are other federations, they come and go, they are born every day, they die every day.
Yes.
We don't see the future based on what he's preaching.
On Sunday, I've realized that on Sunday it's going to be general secretaries that will be attending Durban. Is it by coincidence that it's going to be a gathering of general secretaries to this May Day? Especially knowing that eThekwini in KZN, there are these very big hype domestic politics. Was it strategic, or is it part of the plan, or was it coincidental that you'd see your general secretaries descending to KwaZulu-Natal?
No, it is not coincidental. What happened is that it is COSATU who decide and deployed. And then the other organization respond to COSATU. So in the National May Day, for an example, COSATU sent its president. The ANC feel obliged to send its president too, and the party send its general secretary, which is equivalent to the other organization as a president, and SANCO send its general secretary. When COSATU send its general secretary to Durban, the ANC respond in the same way. Then they will send the ANC a general secretary. The party will then send its deputy general secretary, the first one, because its first general secretary has gone to the national one with President Zuma and President Stumo. So it is that kind of an arrangement. We were together, I think, with Mandashe last year. Last year I was not the general secretary. I was with Jesse Duarte because I was a deputy. So it goes in that fashion. The COSATU deploy first, then everybody correspond in the same level. If he's a president, then they will be said we are sending a president. So it is not just that we wanted to send to Durban. Is that because COSATU have sent its general secretary to Durban and the others are responding accordingly.
Nopal, what is the message to the workers? What is the message to civil society? What is the message to the people? What is the message to society for May Day?
We said that the struggle continues. Workers must take this opportunity, which comes once a year, to go with their families to the May Days, to receive the speeches, but to get some kind of message on the way forward. So May Day is not the end in itself. It's a question of saying these are the challenges from the leadership as we see them, the labor brokering, the question of retrenchment and job losses. But from there, people must go back to the workplace, to their community, and say, how then do we respond to these particular issues? But of course, there's an issue of local government election this year. Our view is that unless you got a government that responds and listens to the voices of the working class, you will not be able to advance your struggles as quickly as you want to. That's why our view will be calling members of COSATU, irrespective of their political affiliation, that come the 3rd of August, they must all stand up and vote for the government that is going to take their views forward. And that government, in our view, is the African National Congress. It got a track record of doing so. We've enjoyed a lot of benefits under the ANC government. That's our message to the society.
Nopal, thank you for your time. I realize that on May Day, indeed, is going to be a red Sunday, and we appreciate for your contribution. I hope you are available on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,